UFC Fight Night Paris is this weekend. Money Moicano versus Benoit Saint Denis. I am Mr. Fight Companion. Let's go through the entire card, see who I think is going to win, and let's just break down fights and talk about it. Spent all day watching UFC fights. Currently like 6 p.m. I started at like 9 a.m. Let's get to it. First up on the ticket here, Bolaji Oki versus Chris Duncan. Um, Looking at Bolaji Oki, this guy, he's rangy. He's a long fighter. Again, most of these guys are like, um, UFC newbies. Like they just got into the organization here. But Oki, he's a long fighter. Um, his grappling leaves a lot to be desired. Uh, you know, um, I really like that he's a long fighter. Like he's got a decent, not a decent, a great jab, and he uses it a lot to set up other facets of striking. But I think what summarizes him is that he's a rangy fighter. That being said, I don't love his grappling. Um, it kind of seems like you can easily put him in dangerous situations or bad situations for him in the grappling. But what kind of helps him out with that is his sprawl. When people go for takedowns against him, he has a decent sprawl. But what I really like is his jab. He's able to keep certain fighters, especially shorter fighters, at bay with it, and I think that's his primary weapon. So he's rangy, and that's what I like about him. He's fighting Chris Duncan. Chris Duncan doesn't really utilize his jab a lot, but one thing about him, he's got pretty good hooks and overhands. They're pretty heavy. They seem to have a lot of power to him, and his grappling is kind of shite too. So, we got two pretty shitty grapplers who have pretty, good weapons in the striking realm. So I think this fight will be primarily on the feet. And yeah, it's gonna be a striking. It's gonna be a striking match, and I think that's fun. That's entertaining, and I think that's what most UFC fans are looking for is striking matches. Uh, and if I have to give you guys a winner and how that winner will specifically win, I am gonna go with Oki. He's the favorite, Balaji Oki. I'm primarily going with him because the straighter punches the straighter punches are going to connect faster than the looping punches and the hooks and the overhands. The jabs and the crosses are going to reach your opponent faster than the hooks and the overhands. So I'm going to go with Balaji Oki on this one. I think he'll probably just jab Chris Duncan to oblivion. Maybe set up other things like kicks with the jab as well, but that's what I think is going to happen. Chris Duncan can get Balaji. Like Balaji can get in trouble if he lets Chris Duncan into the pocket and lets Chris Duncan get closer to him, because then Chris Duncan's going to be able to effectively land hooks and overhands at a more precise clip. So that would give Chris Duncan the advantage. But I'm going to go with fucking Balaji Oki on this one. I think Oki will get it done with his ranginess. Moving on. So women's fight: Nora Cornol versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti. Yeah, I apologize if I fucking butcher last names here, but I'm really trying to do my best. I spent all day watching fights. It's really it's a whole bunch of fucking brain rot, man. Anyway, Nora Cornole, Jacqueline Cavalcanti. I'm gonna go with Nora Cornole. I know Cavalcanti's the favorite, but Cornole seems to be really smart. I like her work in the clinch. She's able to get really effective and dangerous knees in the clinch, which can finish fights early. Cavalcanti is pretty good everywhere. I see why she's the heavy favorite. Great striking, but I tend to go with the underdogs in women's fights, and I tend to be right, as I was at UFC Noche. Next up, Daniel Barrez versus Victor Altamirano. I'm going to spell these names out really slow. For this fight, I'm going to go with Altamirano. Look at my fucking notes here. Yeah, Perez, he's fast. I know this is a flyweight bout, so a lot of flyweights are fast, but uh, Perez, looking back on his fights, he's really fast. He's got great leg kicks. He picks his shots really well. He's got great movement. If I could critique him, I feel like he doesn't go for the finish a lot. Like in some of his fights, he's able to connect really well and get his opponent hurt. But after he hurts his opponent, he just kind of lets go of the gas, steps back, and brings his opponent back into the middle of the octagon, which I think is very lazy and wrong. If I could name one fighter who does it like most of the time, it'd be Jalen Turner. I really don't like Jalen Turner. A lot of you guys probably know that by now. But yeah, Daniel Barez, he's got great movement. He can connect really well. I'm surprised he hasn't won yet in the UFC, but he's able to connect. Like I said, he's fast. I like his fighting style, and his grappling sucks, and that's what I think really just takes him down a peg. And he's fighting again Altamirano, and I got Altamirano. I'm gonna go with Altamirano. He's the favorite. I'm gonna go with him just because of how excellent his spatial awareness is. He's able to kind of utilize his left hand to bait his opponent in close to him and immediately bring his opponent into the clinch, and from the clinch work in trips. And I think that's how Victor Altamirano can bring this fight to the ground and essentially submit Daniel Barez, or just lay on top of Daniel Barez for like all 3 rounds of this fight. So I think this is a pretty good fight for Altamirano, a bad matchup for Barez, and hopefully the UFC doesn't fucking cut him after he loses this fight. Next up, this is a controversial one. Ailin Perez versus Daria Zeleznyakova. As we all know and love Ailin Perez. She's the women's fighter who's kind of made a name for herself with the twerking victory she does. Like after she wins certain fights, she'll start twerking, and I guess a lot of MMA fans really found that entertaining. So she's kind of been in mainstream MMA talking pools because of her twerking celebration. Her fighting is good too, but those celebrations have been noteworthy in the MMA community. And she missed weight today. That was the big thing in the with MMA breaking news and shit. She missed weight, and then coming off the scale, rather than looking disappointed, she kind of looked like she was in disbelief and looked sickly. As soon as she stepped off the scale, she started shaking a lot. It was really scary. In my opinion, it looked really just terrifying. I know weight cutting is hell on earth for many fighters. Yeah, so right. Weight cutting is terrible. It's not a great experience for anybody. I think I never really fought like professionally, and haven't really had to cut weight for anything, thank God. But like the first time I was exposed to that type of stuff was when I saw Sean Strickland weight cut for Adesanya, and Strickland looked like a fucking zombie. But anyway, yeah, it's a bad time out trying to weight cut for a fight. But Ailin Perez looked absolutely awful, and I don't know if they're gonna cancel this fight. A lot of people are saying they're gonna cancel this fight. I haven't seen an official announcement yet. But if by some miracle she is able to go on and fight Daria Zeleznyakova, my money is on Zeleznyakova. This woman is rangy as hell, really tall for the division. Of course, she's like 5'9", and she's got a jab. She's got the jab cross. That's all you really need as a taller fighter to kind of own the fight, and especially like set like a dominant gauging of range. And I feel like she really knows how to control range and therefore control this fight if she does end up fighting Ailin Perez. So I have Daria Zeleznyakova winning that fight. I'm gonna go via like decision. Yeah, I think it's safe to really go with decision wins in women's MMA. But Daniel, I think for the Daniel Barez fight, I don't know if I gave you guys a I did say how that fight was gonna end up. But anyway, next up, Taylor Lapillus versus Vince Morales. Let me go to my notes because I think I took a lot of notes. Yeah, so Taylor Lapillus is the like landslide favorite here. You know, I see why though. He's got great striking. He's very patient. I think that's what I really like about him. He's not too sporadic with his striking. He's patient, so he's able to pick his striking points really well. And he's able to really utilize his left hand for distance, for uh, reads, for anything he really needs. He has a really he really knows how to use his lead hand intelligently. And he's got great takedown defense, so he can keep this fight on the feet for as long as he really wants. And he's fighting Vince Morales, and Vince Morales isn't too bad either. I think he's pretty good as well, and I would sum him up to be a brawler. He likes to really get in close with his opponents and swing. And I think, yeah, one of his earlier TKOs was like a flush overhand that he didn't really time. He just kind of stood in the pocket with his opponent and just started fucking throwing and, landed something. So I don't think he'll get that lucky against Taylor Lapillus. So I'm going to go with Taylor Lapillus to win that fight just because of his patience. I like how patient he is. He's able to kind of slow the fight down, fight at his own pace, and utilize that patience to go for something effective and well timed. So, Lapillus, that's what I'm going with for that one. Next up, Ludovic Klein versus Roosevelt Roberts. This one's a heartbreaker for me. Ludovic Klein, really great fighter. His ground game looks absolutely amazing, kind of out of this world. And his striking isn't too bad either. He's got pretty heavy hands as well. Although, like, it may not look like that a lot of the time when he does connect on a couple of his previous fights. It looks real heavy. And he's fighting Roosevelt Roberts. Roosevelt Roberts, man, I started being a fan of Roosevelt Roberts, obviously, during the tough series between Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler, in which Roosevelt Roberts was like Chandler's first fighter. And then he fought one of Conor McGregor's fighters and just absolutely pieced him with like a 1-2 in the first like 20 or 30 seconds of the fight. And I was like, damn, this guy's a sniper. Like, I like the way he fights. And then I actually did research on him. And then I'm like, damn, this guy is not really a top level fighter. I really wish he was, but he's not. His fight IQ is the real problem here. And I think it'll definitely be the problem when he fights Ludovic Klein. I feel like Ludovic Klein could finish this fight on the feet or on the ground. I'm going to go with the ground, though. I really hope Roosevelt Roberts can hold his own on the feet, which will kind of force Ludovic Klein to go for takedowns and then essentially just choke Roosevelt Roberts out on the ground. But much respect to Roosevelt. It's really hard for me to say this stuff. It really is. I was even gonna go with him, but I gotta make like smart choices here and give you guys the honest truth about who's gonna win, especially me being a betting man as well. So I'm gonna go with Ludovic Klein. My money's on Ludovic Klein. He's the heavy favorite, like enormously the heavy favorite. You could possibly make money putting some money on Roosevelt Roberts, but you probably won't. He's not a high level fighter. He's a fighter. Much respect to him. Much respect to anybody who makes the walk to the octagon. But he ain't really high level. His IQ isn't really amazing. When it really matters. In that tough contest in that first fight, it looked to be amazing and it won me over immediately, but then I really looked at his career, and I'm like, damn. Moving on. Umar Sy versus Da Woon Jung. Umar, I'm going to say Umar. Umar is really good. His striking is pretty good. It's not amazing, but it's pretty good. But what makes him really noteworthy is his grappling. He's very aggressive. He goes for takedowns in a smart way, but also in an aggressive way, and he grapples really well. He's able to hold his opponent there on the ground and just go to fucking work. And against a guy like Da Woon Jung, that won't be too hard to do. Da Woon Jung, not too great in any really facet of MMA. He's not great. He's got a The only thing that I could really tell you that's been noteworthy looking at his fights is his double leg. You know, it's not bad. It's actually pretty fast and it's somewhat successful, but everything else is just okay. It's not really like oh, watch out for Da Woon Jung. Watch out for Da Woon Jung's jab or his overhand. Watch out. You go to sleep. No, Umar Tsai is a really great grappler. I think he'll be able to get takedowns at will. And again, even if Da Woon Jung's double leg is as great as I've been telling you guys it is, Umar, being the grappler that he is, should have a decent sprawl to combat that, or just decent takedown defense overall. So Umar Tsai for the win. By what? Give me Umar Tsai by second round submission. I'll give Da Woon Jung the first round. Next up, this is just all over the fucking place. Did I give a decision? I don't think I gave you specifics for the Ludovic Klein Roosevelt Roberts fight, but for that fight, Ludovic Klein, I have Ludovic Klein winning by first round submission. I'm just gonna go first round submission for Ludovic Klein. Last fight on the prelims, Ion Cutelaba. I really hate this guy. I'm gonna call him for the remainder of this channel and everything. I'm gonna call him Ion Cutelaba. I think it's Ion, but I'm gonna call him Ion Cutelaba. I hate this guy, man. I think what is his name? The Hulk. I think he paints himself green for the weigh-ins. I really fucking hate this guy. And he's fighting Ivan Erslan. I think this is Ivan Erslan's first UFC fight. He's still not the favorite. The favorite is Ion Cutelaba, but not by man. The favorite is Ion Cutelaba, but not by a lot. Okay, it's like a few points. It's like Ion Cutelaba is a -118 and Ivan Erslan's like a -105. So I'm gonna go with Ivan Erslan, not because I hate Cutelaba, but because Erslan looks really good. I've seen his previous fights. He's got killer overhands. He's really aggressive, and I think you need that against Cutelaba. That being said, Cutelaba has good wrestling, decent ground game. We saw him utilize it when he fought Khalil Roundtree, and he kind of just negated all of Khalil Roundtree's specialties, utilizing that ground game. So he could essentially do the same shit against Ivan Erslan. But I think Ivan Erslan has good enough striking and great aggression to the point where he should have a great sprawl and he should have decent takedown defense to keep himself on the feet and just kind of piece Cutelaba up. I would love to see him piece Cutelaba up. Next fight. We're on the main card, finally. Fares Ziam, Matt Steamroller Frevola. Let me go to my notes for this one, because I don't even fucking remember what I wrote. Let's see. Yeah, I didn't write much. Yeah, Ziam, decent grappling. Matt Frevola, he's got great striking, but so does Ziam. I know that's why he's the favorite. But I feel like Matt Frevola, the steamroller, I think he can get it done. I believe in him. He is the underdog. I am going to go with the underdog for this fight. Fares Ziam has pretty smooth striking, Frevola, I wouldn't say as smooth, but I think he's got it within his tool chest to go for the win against Fares Ziam. I think he's got that moxie, he's got that spunk to pull out a win and win me some money. So I'm gonna go with Steamroller Frevola. I kind of fucked up my notes on that fight, but by what? If you're asking me specifically, by what? I got the steamroller by a last round TKO. I'm gonna be spicy. I don't know if I gave you a prediction, like a specific prediction for Ion Cutelaba versus Ivan Arslan, but for that one, I'm gonna go Arslan by decision. I think Cutelaba will have an. I know, fuck it. I'm gonna go Arslan by second round TKO. Fuck it. Urslan. I'm going. I'm saying Urslan's going beast mode, and he's gonna run after Cutelaba and piece him up. Fuck Cutelaba. Ion. Fucking Ion, man. The Ion, man. Next fight. Morgan Charriere. Thank you for still being with me, man. I'm really scrambling and fucking this whole thing up. I've been watching videos all day, and my mind is in shambles. Morgan Charriere, Gabriel Miranda. Everybody's kind of hyping up Charriere. I think his only fight in the UFC so far has been a decision loss. I think he was like he was just really kind of like pressured in that fight to oblivion. I'm trying to find that last fight he fought. Oh no, now they're saying there's other fights that he won. Okay, fuck it. But anyway, let me just go back to what I've been saying about Morgan Charriere. He's a great fighter. He's pretty well rounded, and he fights well. And he's like, again, another landslide favorite against Gabriel Miranda. I am gonna again live on the wild side here, and I'm gonna go with Gabriel Miranda. I think Gabriel Miranda's gonna win this fight. I think he's slippery, man, and he's got great grappling. He does. All right, he's able to sneak in some submissions pretty well. So yeah, I really think that he oh man, I think I fucked up a lot of these. It's okay, fuck it. Never mind. Okay, I know he lost to Benoit, but Benoit is Benoit. But before, you know, he fought Shane Young, and when he fought Shane Young, he looked really good. He looked really good. I think he's upped his game plan. I think he's gonna be sneaky in this fight, and I think, you know, this fight will mostly be fought on the ground per se. I think Charriere might try to keep it on the feet, but Gabriel Miranda will go in for a sneakily executed takedown, take the back and submit Morgan Charriere, or at least try to submit him. But again, I'm on the wild side here. I'm gonna go with a third round submission by Gabriel Miranda. There we go. Taking forever to go through this card. Kevin Josette versus Bryan Battle. Bryan Battle obviously looks kind of like bar for bar like Charles Oliveira, but kind of fights like him too, and he's fighting Kevin Josette. Bryan Battle, great on the ground, pretty good on the feet. He's got good kickboxing on the feet. Again, he kind of looks like Charles Oliveira, man. I really, like, I'm struggling to not see it. And he's fighting Kevin Josette, who has pretty great kickboxing as well, you know? And, you know, the ground game is not excellent, but I think it's enough to go band for Bryan Battle. So even though Bryan Battle's a favorite, I think this fight's going to be a war. And I think it'll pretty much go back and forth. And I'm going to go with Kevin Josette. Again, living on the wild side, going with the underdogs in this fight. I'm going to go with Kevin Josette winning this fight. I think Bryan Battle is great. And again, a lot of it just reminds me of Charles Oliveira. But I think, you know, looking back at Kevin Josette's fights, I see this drive in him, man. I see this hunger. I see the dog in him. The French dog. I know he is a French fighter, so that's not an excellent base as a fighter. But, you know, I think he's got that dog in him. I'm going to go with him. Next up, because I'm spending way too much time. I think this is going to go in like 20-something minutes, man. Holy shit. This is going to be a bitch to edit. Next up is William Gomis versus Joan Anderson Brito. This one is a good fight. William Gomis, I haven't seen anything really special from him. But he's going to be the longer fighter in this fight. He's going to be the taller fighter with a longer reach. So he has the opportunity to really utilize a jab and set up a really heavy cross with that jab to try and keep Brito at bay. The thing is, Brito is Brito. This guy is really scary. Tons of power. Even while on the ground, His ground and pound is scary to watch. This guy is able to generate so much power without even trying to utilize his hips. So he's dangerous. I'm going with him. I keep forgetting specifics with each fight here, man. With the Josette Bryan battle fight, I have Kevin Josette by decision win. All right, back to the William Gomez fight versus Yon Anderson Brito. Yon Anderson Brito is a monster. That being said, again, William Gomez could really utilize his reach and try to keep Yon Anderson Brito at bay with a jab and a cross. I don't think he's going to be able to do it. So I have Brito knocking the Sam Hill out of William Gomez in the first round. Brito looks like the fucking Hulk. He is very scary in there. And I would love to see him fight an Ilia Topuria, maybe a Josh Emmett, because this guy has some power. He's at featherweight, and he is looking to make featherweight interesting. So, yeah. Next up, Nassourdine Imavov versus Brendan Allen. Imavov, the French sniper, really great striking. Kind of a douchebag, in my opinion. I don't really see a good guy in him, unlike Brendan Allen, who I think is an absolute sweetheart. Love this guy, stand-up guy, great grappling. Striking is meh, but it's pretty good. Like, he can kind of somewhat utilize his range. I really hope he works on it, though, because I feel like he could really get much better striking if he really, really focuses. But his ground game is pretty pure, man. It's pretty good. It's really good, actually. I have Brendan Allen winning this fight. He's the underdog. The favorite is Nassourdine Imavov. But I do think Brendan Allen can pull it out, get it done. I'm going to put money on him, and hopefully I get a huge return. I have Brendan Allen in the... Yeah, I'll go by decision. Fuck it. Nah, we're living on the wild side. The theme of this video is the wild side. All right. So Brendan Allen, I think in the final round, both fighters will probably be really exhausted, but I think Brendan Allen will chase a submission. I'll say from a single leg to a submission, from a single leg to a back take. So I think Brendan Allen shoots, late in the fight after Nassourdine Imavov is pretty tired, gets single leg, pulls in a single leg and goes for the back take, gets the back take, and immediately chases the rear naked choke, which he does get against Nassourdine Imavov to win him the fight. Let's go, Brendan Allen. He is a stand-up citizen. And the final fight I already spoke about in the previous video. It's Renato Moicano versus Benoit Saint-Denis. Renato Moicano is pretty much screwed, but he's got hunger, he's got drive, and he's got heart, so he could pull it out. It's the fight game. Anything is possible. It's whatever, man. You could choose. It could be fucking. I'm not even using that example. It could be like the most one-sided odds. Like a giant versus a really small guy with no like MMA specialty, and somehow the tall guy trips, or like somehow he I don't know, he gets tripped or some shit. What I'm saying is anything could happen. It's the fight game. Anything could happen. Your favorite fighter could go out there and look shit, or your favorite fighter could go out there and dominate. I'm trying to figure out a witty way to say what I'm trying to say, but yeah, it's a fight game. Anything can happen. This video is about to be fucking 30 minutes. Holy shit. Thank y'all for staying with me, sticking with me. And yeah, that is my complete rundown of UFC Paris. This took like twice as long as my rundown for UFC Noche, but the amount of fighters on this card is completely fucking egregious. It's crazy. I love y'all. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Yeah, love you motherfuckers. Love y'all. See y'all in the next. By the way, I have Benoit Saint-Denis. Second round TKO.